mean, I was told by my film professor, there are films and there are movies. And sometimes you've got to know what you're walking into.
Yeah. See, but I come from a time when movies were films.
I think there must be something wrong with me, Linus. Christmas is coming, but I'm not happy. I don't feel the way I'm supposed to feel. I just don't understand Christmas, I guess. I like getting presents and sending Christmas cards and decorating trees and all that, but I'm still not happy. I always end up feeling depressed.
Christmas is almost here. We're about 7 days away from Christmas, and the holiday season and Christmas as a whole really wouldn't really feel the same if it wasn't for one single movie, one single great film. Yes, there are loads and tons of great Christmas films, like The Polar Express that we talked about last week, or even The Holdovers from last year, which I am a big, heavy glazer of that movie. Or even Home Alone. The list goes on. So many great, incredible Christmas movies. But there's only one single movie that can say comfortably that this one film has to be the most defining movie for the season, and that is comfortably Charlie Brown Christmas. The holiday season doesn't even feel right if this movie isn't thrown on at least once a year, or if the theme, the music from the movie, isn't even played in the background at any point throughout the entire month or even the year. The word classic gets thrown around a lot these days. This movie is an instant classic. The Holdovers is an instant classic. We have The Polar Express is a classic movie. Home Alone, a classic film. But there's not a lot of films that I can say objectively, definitively, this is a classic. But The Polar Express is that kind of impact on the holiday season to where I can objectively say that at least 95% of humans on Earth living right now have seen and definitely love Charlie Brown Christmas. There's not a lot of films or TV specials where I can say, I think that most of the world has seen this movie and they definitely loved it. Like, for example, Infinity War, yeah, sure, you probably saw it, but you may not have even liked it. Avatar, you may have saw it, but you may not have even liked it that much either. But a film that's not even a movie, actually, is actually a TV special like Charlie Brown Christmas is that kind of thing that is just really like a warm hug every single time you watch it. Even if, like myself, for example, I watched this movie twice within like a week span, and the movie still hits every single time. I have the vinyl for Charlie Brown Christmas as well, and the vinyl also hits very hard also. So the movie is definitely defining for Christmas. Christmas is a week away. The movie is a great film that I've grown up on for so many years, and one that I just had to talk about here today. But if you heard the episode that we did for Polar Express, then I'll just kind of say maybe know what I'm about to say. But if you didn't hear that episode, then there was actually, before an original draft of this episode, what's the context behind that actually? Well, the context is that last year, I was working at Chick-fil-A. I was working at Chick-fil-A for about a year and a half at that point, I guess. And I ended up getting fired around December the 11th, that same week last year. I got fired from Chick-fil-A, no job at all. And at that time, I did actually have in the plans, in the pipeline, I had planned up for a Polar Express and a Charlie Brown Christmas episode, which definitively, like you have been a listener of the show for a while, those episodes obviously did not come out at all. Those had to get pushed back an entire year to this year, 2024. And now finally, I can finally talk about them. Last year was definitely a very depressing December. I did a review for like 10 or 15 different Christmas movies. Then I did some kind of things for Boy and the Heron and also Godzilla. Then besides that, that's it. It was over. That was a scrap for the entire month, which is definitely very sad. But this month, I think I can do a little bit better. And with the original draft of the episode, I definitely was very ambitious in the way that I wanted to do it, because I actually ended up going out and buying the book from Target because I wanted to have as much as I possibly can. And, I didn't actually keep the book. I actually returned the book the next day. But, still, I read the book for Charlie Brown and also watched the special last year. And I can definitely say comfortably that the book and the TV special aren't that different at all. I don't know the exact release date for the book either. But, it's not like how, as I mentioned before, how we did Where the Wild Things Are. With that one, the book and the movie, it's very cool to talk about both of those, hand in hand. But with this one, the Charlie Brown Christmas book isn't exactly doing a whole lot to add to the overall story. Instead, it's just the same old story with just, in book format, which is kind of cool. But, definitely wasn't exactly needed to talk about that here. If you want to read it, go for it. It's literally the exact same thing, but doesn't add a whole lot of context and will mean potatoes to the entire thing. Instead, it all just mainly lies within the TV special itself. The TV special is just truly one of the best of all time. Also, one of the highest rated Christmas anything of all time, which is definitely very deserving of that. But I love that with this show, with this main little 25-minute little special, it dives into the, I guess, reality of Christmas in a very real way. And also, it is just for kids, which is definitely also very cool. But I think that the way this goes about being very mature for children, and then having a story that's really surrounded by trying to find the spark in Christmas again in a world that's filled with so many massive amounts of greed and commercialism, it is definitely very close to home as an adult when you watch it. And then for kids, it kind of just flew over my head just how real and sad and depressing this special actually was. The term of "you'll understand it when you're older," it's going to hit harder for you when you're older, is something that gets thrown around a lot, and with this one in particular, it's just even more real, because as a kid, yes, it's fun, it's funny, it's peak for sure, but as an adult, I realized just how brilliant this really is. And also just the history and context of this special is an entire episode of itself. The history of everything really can be talked about for hours on end, because the history of this even coming to existence is maybe crazier than the movie itself. I mean, the fact that this was supposed to be originally a Coca-Cola special was very crazy. I didn't even know about that at all. The animation being like a $5,000 budget, which maybe in today's money may be a lot, but still, that's like absolutely nothing at all for this special. Being just really put together in like no time at all. The jazz in this movie is just very good. Also, was done in like less than a year. That's insane. That something that's so iconic can really be done with really nothing is insane. And as for when this special came out, it did release in 1965, which was actually the only film I've ever seen from the year 1965. The 60s actually just, I guess I'll pivot to the entire decade as a whole, was a great decade for film. So many just incredible films came out in the 60s, like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Psycho, the Dollars Trilogy, Persona. We also have The Graduate, which was also very good, Lawrence of Arabia, Sound of Music. The list goes on. High and Low, Umbrellas of Cherbourg, West Side Story, Charlie Brown Christmas, Jules and Jim, La Samurai, Night of the Living Dead. List goes on. The 60s for me, I think, has to be maybe the highest quality decade for film ever. I mean, that's really a broad range of films, but still, the 60s, that decade, seeing just how much influence films today, like how High and Low came out in the 60s, and it's now getting a remake from Spike Lee, that shows the pure influence from that one film alone that's coming out. That's just really insane to think about. The 60s, goated decade, and also in the 60s lied one little Christmas special called Charlie Brown Christmas, which you all know definitely slapped. And as for me, my personal first experience watching the movie is, I don't know, not available. I don't even actually remember when I first saw the movie, because it's been in my life since I can even remember having conception of living in my life. It's kind of like how if I asked you, what was like your first experience meeting your mom? Well, like when I was born, ever since I've existed, I've known that I had a mom. So yeah, the same with Charlie Brown. I guess a little bit less aggressive than a mom or a dad, but still, Charlie Brown is one of those life-defining films, not just childhood, but life as a whole. The way that this one movie can almost be a companion to me my entire life is truly special. I have a lot of those kinds of films that I have in my life, like with the MCU, or I talk about the MCU, Infinity Saga. The MCU, maybe on a little bit of a downward spike, but I'll always be an MCU fan because these were like a companion to me my entire life. Same with Charlie Brown. Or like with Transformers. Those Michael Bay Transformers movies are not good at all, objectively speaking, but still, those are companion films that I absolutely love and I'll never forget in my entire life. And the same goes here. The movie is great. As for not just what I thought, but what the world thinks of this movie, like I said, it's one of the highest rated Christmas things ever made, definitely deservingly so. And as for this film's box office, is a massive not available. This is actually a TV special, not a movie, a TV special. You had to turn on your TV. Actually, no, you had to walk up to the TV and manually change the channel to be Charlie Brown every single year. So no Netflix, no movies, no streaming, nothing. Only watch your TV. That's just, I think, very pure form of entertainment. Awesome. Then as for Rotten Tomatoes, a little bit more of a modern critiquing system here. I do have an 86% critic score and a 93% audience score. Definitely very high margins there. Could be higher. I think 100% is actually really fair, but I'll take it. And now just diving into some reviews from some actual critics. I do have one review here that's usually actually from Roger Ebert, but there's no Roger Ebert review that I have for this TV special. So instead, I do have one here from Rotten Tomatoes from Billy Goody Kuntz. I hope that's a real last name. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry. I'll link the full thing down there below. It's a full little article with a bunch of movies. But in this one little review here, he describes something that's very, very cool. He said, my favorite movie to watch during the holidays wasn't a movie at all. It was a Charlie Brown Christmas. In some ways, it was more exciting than a movie. Movies played in theaters for weeks at a time, offering several opportunities to catch them. But Charlie Brown came on once a year. If you missed it, you missed it. That was it. You had to wait till next year to watch the movie again. And that just really does encapsulate just how much value this movie had for many, as we weren't exactly in the phase of streaming or even how you could record things and then play them back again. You got to watch it once a year. I don't think I lived in that decade, but that still does show just how much value was added to this movie on its inception and moving on into the future. Then over on Letterboxd, this film has a very, very strong 4.2 out of 5 star average, which is definitely hugely strong. Then I have one review here from Ari_L, who gave this film a 4 out of 5. And then in his review, I don't know if it's a girl or a guy, in their review, I'll say to be safe, they say that atheist female bullies a bald child, gets owned by Pastor Linus, then instantly regrets it. You will not believe what happens next. And, I wanted to include this, one, to just say why even say that, but two, to also just kind of give a little bit of segue, just because the religion in this movie is used in a cool way, but also I think as I've grown older, the religion of mentioning Jesus isn't, I think, the smartest thing to do in this broad of a film to just a very broad audience. And enough of edging you with this review. This movie is just only a 25-minute thing, but I have a whole lot to say about it because really, I think just for outside of the movie, its mere impact, just because of how much it's doing, but also how much it's failing to do at the same time, is, I think, something that's definitely to be talked about. This episode may reach like 30-40 minutes, if all I know. That is a very beautiful example of films just changing as I get older. The film Charlie Brown Christmas may not have changed at all. No adjustments have been made at all to this classic, but the film didn't change, but I changed, which therefore affected the way I see the movie and perceive it, which therefore has affected its overall message for me a whole lot.
For behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Linus is right. I won't let all this commercialism ruin my Christmas.
So just going into this, there's not a lot of need for me to do really anything in terms of explaining what happens in the film. We've all seen it. It's 25 minutes long. If you, for some reason, haven't watched the movie, then just leave right now and go watch it, then come right back here. I would definitely prefer that before I dive into spoilers, I guess, for the show. It's, once again, 25 minutes. It's very basic, but still very effective. But simply, if you haven't seen it, you don't really feel like it, Charlie Brown is a kid. He's very depressed. He doesn't have friends. Well, he has friends, but no Christmas card. No one really likes him. He doesn't like the commercialism of Christmas and how everything is being taken advantage of. Nothing really feels authentic anymore. He's very depressed. It's a very real and sad adult story, which is very cool to see that happen. And, he wants to be involved in something. He wants to feel like he's important and feel like he matters to someone, which he never really feels. So that alone is a gift in and of itself. And something that he's definitely yearning for, just as a lifelong thing, not just a Christmas thing, but really a lifelong thing to happen for him, to make him feel like he matters to someone, which is given to him in the sense of being tasked with being a director for the Christmas play, which is definitely, I guess, the funniest part of the entire special, seeing them all just dance around their crazy little dancing moves. Once again, also, like I said previously, I have the vinyl for Charlie Brown Christmas, and I do the same exact dances when I'm in my living room. That's just, hey, that's a very banging soundtrack, like I said before. But getting off track, you're distracting me right now. Stop it, cut it out. He is tasked with being the director of the Christmas play, then he's tasked with getting a Christmas tree. An aluminum one is all that there is in the entire park of Christmas trees, which isn't very natural at all. An aluminum tree, a fake tree, that's kind of weird. Actually, fun fact, I actually own a fake tree myself. It is a fake tree, but you know, if you've had a real Christmas tree, you had to actually deal with it, having to water it every now and then, having bugs go inside of it. If you have dogs, your dog is going to drink out of the Christmas tree water. It's a real pain in the butt. Having the Christmas tree that we can just put up every single year, take it down, really snip, snap, boom, easy. It's a little bit better. It is a little bit better. I do miss having a real tree, but you know, it is what it is. You know, we can make do with it. It's fine. And, you know, actually, something that I just thought of just now as I'm thinking, sitting here doing this episode, is that I do actually miss having a real tree for reasons besides, you know, the bad stuff, like I said before, with, you know, the water, having to water it all the time, my dog drinking out of the water from the tree, and that causing its own slew of issues, which is definitely very stressful and annoying. I miss the magic of going as a family to select the Christmas tree, then bringing it home, putting it up, decorating it, and actually having this living tree in my house that I have to take care of and tend to for an entire month is something that's kind of adding to the wonder and magic of Christmas that I didn't even think I was actually missing until literally like 3 seconds ago when I was just thinking about it. That's like, wow, yeah. And, you know, I definitely do feel enough for Charlie Brown. Instead of going for the fake aluminum tree, now going for the very small, brittle, nasty, torn down tree. That is real. That is definitely the one of, I guess, not the thing, but one of the big faces and big icons of Christmas is the actual Christmas tree. Christmas really wouldn't even be it without it. It's really, I guess, one of the most iconic things maybe in human history that we can actually visualize, like, you know, fireworks, whatever, boats, horses. But, you know, a Christmas tree is something very special. Having that real tree does add a little bit more wonder to it. So, you know, Charlie Brown gets called a blockhead and idiot for picking a very small trash tree instead of an actual real cool aluminum tree, which definitely isn't very cool at all. But, you know, it's pink and gold, so who cares? And it's also not until after he gets the tree, called a blockhead and called an idiot, that he now learns the true meaning of Christmas. And we have Linus coming up to the stage and literally reading scripture from the Bible, saying that Christmas is all about Jesus, which I'm going to be debating here in a second. So just stay tuned for that. It's going to be very fun. And, you know, that's really the entire thing. It's a very fun little special, very short. It speaks for itself. The music and the vibe can do a lot more than I can in front of a podcast microphone. But, you know, the movie does mean a lot to me. And, you know, breaking it down from there is more importantly the impact that the film has had on me and many other people. The big question for today's episode is really essentially what I'm going to be trying to answer, which is, why is Christmas not hitting anymore for me as an adult? Why does Christmas not feel the same as it was when I was a kid? And I did find the answer. And, you know, it was actually kind of easy, actually. I did it in like 5 minutes. But, you know, still, it's a very real answer. It makes sense. It definitely is just something that I think can be studied for a while and also kind of inevitable for any adult. I look at, you know, how kids today are really happy for Christmas, but I'm not. So, you know, it's not exactly the season or the year that's changing. It's not because we're in 2024 and now Christmas is all of a sudden very depressing. It's the fact that the holiday didn't change. The day that the holiday is happening on never changed, but I changed. I changed and I grew up, which definitely impacted a lot of things, like Christmas being one of the biggest of all. And, you know, I broke it down here actually very easily, and I do have it broken down here into two different kind of categories. The first one is, the first thing to actually mention and note here, I'm not a doctor at all, so don't take my word as bond and as actual life, because I'm not a doctor. I don't have a doctorate. I'm prescribing merely random things that I have written down in my iPhone. So please don't say I'm a doctor. I'm not that at all. Wish I was, but Unlikely. So there's two different stages, like I was saying, two different stages as we go into December and Christmas. Those two stages of people are one, the kids era, which in the kids era, it's definitely the one that I've grown up the most with, as I'm still kind of a kid. But back then when I was a kid, I do remember that at that time, Christmas is hitting so much when you're a kid is because there's no worries. You have no job. You have no responsibilities to a degree, because in the sense of responsibility is just school. But, in school, it's not that big of a deal depending on who you are. For me, I didn't really care at all that much. So school, yes, it's a responsibility. But besides that, besides you going to school, taking notes, doing a random test, besides that, you're literally freeloading, free food, free Wi-Fi, free power, free water, everything. You don't have to pay for anything at all. You have no money, so no worries, no problems. It's a whole lot of fun. And during this time of the year, you get to have free gifts. So that one jacket you wanted, you can have the jacket without doing anything at all because it's Christmas. And a $30 jacket is definitely very valuable when you have $0 and you make $0 a day and an hour. So that's why Christmas is so magical, because Christmas for kids is magical because they make no money. They have no job. They only go to school. They have no responsibilities. They don't have to worry about taxes or wife or taxes or anything like that, or voting. So, instead, they just have to literally, quote unquote, be on the nice list, which is just, taking out trash and doing chores. And then you get a free bike for Christmas. That's a whole lot of fun. And then the second era, the second kind of person you become after the kids era, which is very, very inevitable, is the adults era of Christmas, which is definitely split into three different kinds of people. And those three different kinds of people are A, you either love Christmas with all your heart. So you're a big Christmas fanatic as an adult. You decorate the house, you play the music, you do the cookies and hot chocolate, all that fun stuff with the movies as well. And, that's the ideal setting to be in for everyone. But these kind of people with the A setting, they're genuinely in love with Christmas with all their heart, and they absolutely love it. And the second category, category B, is that you don't really mind Christmas. You're kind of like, okay, it's Christmas. I'm not that hyped for it, but hey, it's Christmas. So, I'm kind of happy for it. Or you just don't really celebrate it at all, which is okay. Maybe you do Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or you don't really do anything religious-wise, which is okay. And, also, I don't know exactly what Hanukkah and Kwanzaa is to a T. I know a little bit, but I'm not going to pretend to explain it or know it. So, if it's the same as Christianity, I'm actually very sorry about that, but I just didn't really know. So, sorry. Like I was saying, you maybe do Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or you're not really religious, or you're Christian, or, you have to do Christmas, but you don't really care about it that much. And that's, I guess, kind of the area that I'm in this year of Christmas is here. I like Christmas, but, it's like, okay, cool, it's Christmas. I still have to work. I still have to go and grind. I'm not like category C, which is category C is just pure depression. You're sad. Christmas for the people here in category C, Christmas just doesn't really work out. Christmas for you never works out. You don't really have any kind of love for the holiday. You just want it to go along and get out of here as quick as possible. In this case, you're more of the Scrooge or the Grinch, as people would say, to where you hate Christmas. You're very depressed and very sad during December. So why should you care? Why is this even happening? That's the area that we're talking about today. A and B are kind of the same thing. They both kind of celebrate Christmas. One celebrates it a lot. The other one kind of does it because, kind of whatever. Hey, that's cool. Or you don't do Christmas at all because you're religious. So maybe you do like Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, like I said before. But in this sense, on area number C is the area that Charlie Brown most definitely falls under, and the one that all of us are falling under here today. And definitely for me, there's different reasons as to why depression in Christmas happens, and this is the main reason why Christmas doesn't hit for you anymore, outside of the fact that we're all adults. In Christmas time, when I was a kid, Christmas was very valuable because, let's say I wanted the new Assassin's Creed game for Xbox. I can literally buy like 25 different Xbox games right now if I wanted to. Would it be the most financially responsible? No. Do I want to? No, either, actually. Or like, for example, vinyls, like the little vinyl records, I do want those too. I can buy literally whatever I want to a sense, to a degree. I'm definitely in a very good place financially where I can comfortably buy essentially whatever I want to. Would it exactly be smart to buy a Porsche? No, but can I take out a loan for it? Yes, I can do that. So, it's not really like Christmas is definitely valuable for me in any way because I'm doing pretty good for myself. And then when we get to an adult age, we kind of realize that Christmas isn't at all magic. It's just a time of year where kids want stuff. So the corporate companies are going to take advantage of people buying useless things for no reason really at all and take advantage of all of that with no real joy or pride, just pure capitalism and pure money and greed, which is definitely a whole lot of fun as well. And that's definitely the area, like I said, where Charlie Brown is wrapped under, to where Christmas for him doesn't work out. He's very depressed, very sad. The commercialism of it all is just to a degree where it's just very rampant and outrageous at this point. So we feel for him, we understand him, but we don't understand in ourselves as to why this is happening. The movie doesn't really explain it that well at all either, but I figured it out. I figured out what it is. So I'm going to say it right here. It's in about like some different kind of categories I actually broke up into. So it's a whole lot of fun. Well, not fun, but definitely explained very well. I'm actually pretty proud of myself for it. So just going into here, the different reasons that I have for depression in Christmas time is actually very simple. But the first thing that I have to say that the reason for depression can be is that life is very momentum based, in the sense that for the people who are very happy around Christmas time, they had a very, very great year. They graduated, they had a kid, they got married, they got a new house, a new car. They had a very phenomenal year in 2024. So therefore, that momentum will carry on to January, February, August, September, October, November, into December, Christmas, which is where we have all this magic and fun, to where you can't help but say, oh my gosh, I made $500,000 this year. Of course I'm going to be happy in December. This is a great freaking year. Or the second option will be that life is momentum based and you had a very bad year. In January, you got fired. February, your car broke down. And then in, March, your team lost in the Super Bowl. Not very fun either. So that also carried over into the month of March. Then just again and again and again, even as we go into the later half of the year, August, September, October, November didn't go your way. You took a lot of losses in this year. None of your goals you met in any kind of way, shape, or form. You wanted to go to the gym. You quit the gym. You wanted to have a new hobby. You didn't do it good at all. You have a business that you're running. Your business went bankrupt and broke. So definitely, if you had a bad year for the 11 months, the 12th month in the year, you're going to definitely associate it with not being very good at all. And now, of course, you can choose to do whatever you want. We're all the byproduct of our decisions and our decision making. So in that sense, if you took a lot of losses, no one's undefeated in life. If you took like 45 losses in the month of 2024 or the year 2024, then you can choose to either A, be worse off in December, or B, you can try to really figure it out. But, I think that for the people who just don't like Christmas at all, I think that as a child, if you have very bad Christmases, then that's going to be carried on through the year and potentially to scar you that will never really go away. Even though Christmas, once again, the holiday never changed exactly, but the fact that during Christmas time, let's say your parents got divorced when you were a kid and you had to maybe not have any Christmas at all when you were growing up, or maybe your parents were just not in a good state financially to get you any kind of gifts at all, and you never had the opportunity to have any kind of toy on Christmas ever. Well, in that case, then Christmas for you as an adult will just never really essentially work out. You'll never have experienced the magic, so therefore, what magic are you there to even spread at that point? And still, people can choose to take that pain and therefore inflict more pain on others to a degree, just kind of passively by being a Scrooge and a Grinch, or they can take their pain and trauma and do something good with it and be something greater that people actually need, like Batman or Superman if you want to. So in my opinion, I think that's the reason why most are upset at Christmas time, at least, like I said, in my opinion. Or like how my second kind of example here is like how in life we're very goal-oriented. And in that sense, the end of the year, 2024, is almost like your marking period for the season of life, you can say. Kind of like how, in the NFL, NBA, they have the end of the year awards like MVP, Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. It's kind of like the same with Christmas, how in the end of 2024, let's say you made some goals to win a Super Bowl, but you didn't do that, but you didn't make the playoffs. So you're definitely not going to be super happy, but you're still going to try and take some kind of momentum to push forward on into bigger and greater things. My goals for this year, 2024, I didn't really hit any of them. I think my main goal this year was to read 12 books. I only finished one, which I started last year, 2023. And besides that, I haven't even really touched any of my books on my shelf, which I'm definitely not very happy about. But, I'm still trying to kick it in 2024 Christmas and still be a little bit jolly this year. So it's either in the end of 2024, let's say your goal for this year was to buy a house, buy a car, like I said before, and you did those things. Well, guess what? In this year, you're going to be very happy that you did those things very well, and you definitely are going to have a great Christmas and very jolly Christmas. Or like the end of 2024, you're unhappy and just depressed and mad at yourself for not meeting your goals. So therefore, in December 2024, you're in this winter arc, which is what all the kids say nowadays. We're in the winter arc of grinding, hustling, going to the gym and trying to make more money. And instead of all that, it is good to, I guess, work on yourself. But in the reality of all that as well is that while you're just in complete tunnel vision, you're kind of blocking off your eyes from really all of life around you. So in that sense, you're not going to be seeing or witnessing or experiencing any of the good of Christmas that's going on right now. This is actually something that I kind of realized last week, Saturday. I was actually driving home from work, and my ride home from work, I'm kind of driving through the city a little bit, and the road was blocked off because of the Christmas parade. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's today. The Christmas parade is actually today, very close to my house, but I'm not actually doing it because I'm kind of busy working on myself, going to the gym, writing, doing a bunch of cool stuff like that, and working on myself. So therefore, I'm kind of unintentionally, I guess, missing the joy of Christmas because I'm kind of busy this time of year as well. Which is really the same for a lot of people who are living as adults, how life never pauses at all. Which I realized this very recently. I'm only 20 right now, so I'm still pretty young. But I kind of realized that whether it's Thanksgiving, or whether it's Christmas, or 4th of July, or any kind of holiday, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, you still have to work, unless you take time off to vacation stuff. I'm saving my PTO for cool stuff, but most of the time, people have to still work and contribute to society. Yes, Christmas Day, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, we have those days off, but still there's about 360 days left in the year that you have to work, which definitely isn't the best ratio in the world. So it is, I guess, inevitable for a lot of people, even if you hit all your goals, you still have to work in the month of September and November and also December. You can't just take those months off. You have to kind of just keep pushing along. Yes, I did have a pretty solid year, I guess, money-wise. I definitely am making some pretty cool money this year, but I'm definitely not at a point where, okay, nice, 11 months of the year, January all the way through November, I had great success. Now December, I can completely stop dry. Most people in the world can't really do that, which is okay. But, that's just kind of the effect that Christmas can have, to where we're kind of told the thing that we're supposed to be doing, but yet we just kind of aren't able to do it as adults these days. Especially with the economy, with the state of the world right now, where the world is in a lot that's happening in the world right now that I don't even really talk about. This isn't a political show, but a lot's happening in the world, not only the US where I am right now, but all of the entire world. A lot of things are happening, which I don't need to even talk about, but still a lot's happening, to where December feels like a weird month of, hey, be happy. Even though it's really hard to, I still need you to be happy because I really told you so. So exactly what is Christmas about? What can we do to make it better for people who just don't really feel like it's hitting the same, or don't really feel like they need to be happy or even can be happy? Well, according to Charlie Brown, Christmas is all about religion and about Jesus being born on Christmas Day, which, in my opinion, that's not what it's about. It's one of the reasons why it's about. But, you have to think about how, let's say you're one of the people who say Christmas is about Jesus and celebrating Jesus. Well, let's say someone isn't Christian. Let's say someone doesn't really celebrate that. They celebrate something else. Or if they're atheists, or if they just don't believe in God, they're not really religious at all. Let's say that's the case in that situation. So now, I don't know how many Christians there are in the world. Let's say about 50%. I don't know, whatever. So let's say 50% of the world is Christian, then the other half is not Christian. So therefore, only half the world is able to truly celebrate Christmas. No, for obviously not the case at all. There's just many other religions like Islam, whatever. The list goes on. I'm not going to talk about that right now. The point is, Christmas can't just be about Jesus because that's just not a reality anymore. It was a definitely very good theme as me being Christian growing up, but in reality, looking around, that's not the case anymore for different reasons also as well. So what exactly is Christmas about exactly? Well, in my opinion, I actually did ask one of my coworkers. I told him to tell me, what does Christmas mean to you? And he did give me the, basic cliche answer: being happy, spending time with family, getting gifts and presents and celebrating, just chilling out. And, it was, like I said, the very cliche answer: doing the Christmas festivities and celebrating Jesus Christ, all that stuff, which, like I said, very cliche, but very accurate. That is definitely what Christmas is. And, that as a whole, what I actually took apart from that is that Christmas is like the year in review. It's like the recap of the entire year. And, like I said before, with the NFL, NBA, at the end of each season, there's the awards. So we have the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, all that stuff. Some people win, some people don't. That's okay. We're going to take that, whether you won or lost, go into next year and really just try to be a lot better. I don't know if you watch the NFL. You may not watch the NFL, so that's okay. But there's some players who definitely did suffer some season-ending injuries. Like we have one player, his name was Aiden Hutchinson. If you don't watch the NFL, then you may not know. If you do watch the NFL, you definitely know. But Aiden Hutchinson played on the Lions. He's a great, great player, incredible player. Like literally, Aiden Hutchinson is a top 5 defensive player in the league. Maybe like, oh, that's okay. Okay, let's say like top 15, top 10 defensive player in the NFL. Definitely, no doubt, no question. This year, he was literally on track to win the Defensive Player of the Year easily. Easy lock. He was on target to be literally one of the best seasons in NFL history for defensive players. But like luck happens, he had a literally season-ending injury very early on. He may not come back. He may, I'm fingers crossed, hoping if he comes back, I'll be so happy. But most likely, Aiden Hutchinson will not come back. And, it doesn't mean that his season was a failure to that sense. He definitely had a very great year. He'll be injured, but, that's still some experience to take away from for him to get better, to maybe try to avoid injuries if he even can in football. I mean, I understand, but, still, there's a lot he can do in this time to really make him just better than he was before this year. So that's kind of like how the same with December, how we have December this month where we may not have one, but we can still try to find our way to get better in this month. It may not be easy, but we do have to sometimes just take our losses and watch the film from the loss and get better. That's like in every single sport ever, I'm pretty sure. Or actually, an even better example this year was that earlier this year in January-ish, Josh Allen ended up losing in the playoffs to the Chiefs. I remember that right. Yes, he did. He lost to the Chiefs this year, and he also did not win the MVP last year at all. He was actually in the running for MVP. It was almost a unanimous vote for Lamar Jackson. But Josh Allen, once again, NFL player. If you know him, you know him. If you don't, you don't. Josh Allen last year wasn't really doing the best he can. This year, he's literally having one of the best seasons, I guess, in franchise history for the Buffalo Bills. Also, he is definitely, I guess, at now this point, a lock for MVP. No question. So Josh Allen, he could have, instead of, taking that loss in the playoffs and also taking that loss of MVP, Josh Allen could have just quit football entirely. But, no, he didn't do that at all. Number one, because he's under a contract. But two, he did it because he knows that he can be better. I think. Maybe. I don't know Josh Allen. I'm just saying that, imaginarily. But Josh Allen knows he can be great, knows what he can do, and he chose to take that loss and get better from it. And now, look at him now. MVP lock, definitely, no doubt, no question. His team, the Buffalo Bills. Bills are currently top 5 discussion for Super Bowl win. A lot can happen between now and me recording this and later on. I may just jinx them. Who knows? But, still, Josh Allen might win a Super Bowl this year, which would be the first time in his career, also the franchise career. But that wouldn't have happened if he just gave up after he lost it all this year. He decided to keep going on, keep pushing forward, and now he's playing some very good football. So the question is, are you Josh Allen? No. Are you Aiden Hutchinson? No. Are you LeBron James or Bronny James? No. You're never going to be that unless you are listening to this right now. That'd be really super cool, actually, but you're probably not, most likely. But what I'm saying right now is that Christmas time is the time to just reflect and kind of lay back and chill while also still working on yourself. But taking the time now to just kind of look at what you did this year, good or bad. I want you to take what you did this year, write it all down on a piece of paper, and take this time to, one, celebrate, show, relax, watch some good movies and stuff, and then take the time to just write down your weaknesses and learn, how can I make these strengths in 2025 next year? That's the kind of the theme of Christmas that really makes it what it is. You can take the time to kind of relax and chill and just kind of rest for this little bit of time. Then January, hit the ground running and keep going consistently for the entire year. Yes, you might be depressed and sad, but still power through it, push through it, suck it up, and just trust me when I say that no one in life is undefeated. Everyone has a loss. Be humble with your loss and very gracious with your defeats. That's a quote from someone, I don't know who, but it's definitely very factual. My final review for Charlie Brown Christmas is a very modest 9 out of 10. Definitely an A plus there, no question. Nope, not an A plus, A. Just an A, not an A plus, it's just an A right now. It's classic, it's simple, does what it needs to do, does it very well. Was this episode as good of a Charlie Brown thing that it could have been? No. I definitely did, I guess, kind of sidetrack there. The thing's only 24 minutes long, so let me just kind of fill in the gaps a little bit here. Just give me a break. Usually we also have Buzz from the Backlog, but this week, since it's Charlie Brown and it's just so short, there's no real need for it for this movie. It's too short to have an award ceremony. It's kind of dumb for it. But still, great film, incredible. Speak for itself. Watch it tonight, please. It's only 25 minutes long. Just watch it right now if you can. But I know, enough about Charlie Brown. You're probably asking yourself, Logan, what's the future of the podcast here? We really want to know. We really are very anxious to find out. Well, the answer is I'm not quite sure right now. And the answer for that is because, one, I was going to do Nosferatu, but Nosferatu is coming out next week. No one cares about the first one right now. No one cares at all about 1922 or 1979. Let's face the facts, no one cares. I'm still watching them. I watched Nosferatu in 1922, but I was writing the notes for it. I was like, you know what? They don't care about this right now. They don't really need this episode. So you know what? We'll move to the back burner for a little bit. We'll shelf this little review here. And instead, I'll still watch them. I'll refer to those movies when I talk about Nosferatu when I watch it next week on Christmas Day. So until that happens, unfortunately, no Nosferatu. I'm just going to, cancel that, brush it on the rug for a little bit. Plus, I was going to be rushing through that episode, so I didn't really want to do that at all either. Instead, if I do an episode next week, which I might just take the week off, most likely, but if I do an episode next week, it may be something on Wednesday if I'm just randomly, a random burst of motivation comes through my head, oh my gosh, this is the movie to do next week on Christmas Day, then I'll do that. But unlikely, once again, just unlikely that happens. It's really just not really possible, I think, for me at this point in time. If I do an episode, it'll be next week, Monday-ish, for the new Wallace and Gromit movie. Also, I'm trying to go see Mufasa, so if I did an episode, in theory, next week, it would be a kind of combo review like I did before last year with those two movies, which a combo review, haven't done in a while, but I kind of want to. It's kind of fun when I did it last time, so I'm thinking about it, but it's not a promise, not a guarantee. The next episode most likely will be Nosferatu. That comes out next week, Wednesday, Christmas Day. Should be just, I think, a great movie. Has great reviews right now, so definitely very hyped for it. But like I said, maybe if Mufasa and also Wallace and Gromit just compel me enough to really have something to say about it, then I, in theory, would do an episode next week, but that's not a guarantee at all. Next week, holiday week, just take the week off and just kind of chill and vibe with the fam. And I do actually think it will be a kind of cool little change of pace to actually have a little bit of rest this year. The year's almost over. I've actually put an episode essentially weekly. I've averaged at least one episode per week, which is definitely a very huge success for me. Definitely very proud of myself for it. So I think I deserve kind of a little bit of a break at this point. But until then, of course, if you just want to know when I upload an episode, the best bet that you have for you is turn on notifications. Notifications, they'll just come in clutch for you. I can be very spontaneous with the episodes. This is coming out on a Wednesday night. What am I doing right now? I don't even know. I'm working. So yes, I know the episode would have come out this morning, but I have to work, so that couldn't really happen. So the best bet, post notifications, but until then, follow us everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever. I don't know. They're all getting banned, but who cares? I don't really mind anymore. But Follow us everywhere. Also, just stay swagged out, stay cool, watch more movies like Charlie Brown, also Nosferatu. Watch those immediately. Also, don't forget Mufasa and also Wallace and Gromit coming out today, actually came out. So watch those films. But until then, stay swagged out, stay cool, watch more films, and as always, I'm Real Logan. I'll see you boys in the movies.